Hello, welcome to Tobisonics. Please like, subscribe, follow, you know the drill. It is Tuesday, the 5th of January 2021. I hope you all managed to have a happy Christmas and a good new year in these difficult times. In today's episode, we're going to be testing out a brand new plugin that Arturia gave away just before the end of the year, the Jun-6 Chorus. According to Wikipedia, the Roland Juno 60 and the near-identical Juno 6 were released in the early 80s and were widely used in 1980s pop music. The Wikipedia article goes on to cite examples such as Aha, Billy Idol, Berlin, Eurythmics, A Flock of Seagulls, Cyndi Lauper, and Wham! As this is the first time I'll be using the Chorus Jun-6, I thought it'd be interesting to break open the production for my upcoming single Eye of the Storm on the second verse and see what we can do to flavour up the production. Let's kick things off with the beat, and let's see if we can add a little bit more life to that snare drum. At the moment, what you're listening to is the dry production. Let's drop the Chorus Jun-6 out of bypass and see what it can do for that snare. So we've got the plugin set at about 13-14% dialed in on the wet dry mix, and we've got it set on mode 2, which is 0.6 Hz on a triangle shaped LFO. And you can hear straight away we're getting that really kind of great kind of Prince kind of cough and variation on the snare. It's very, very nice. And I think as well it's helping the snare sit up and feel a little bit bigger against the kick. I think that's the phase. It's just shifting it around a little bit in the stereo field, making it sound a little bit bigger against the kick, helping it sit up in the mix. Next up, let's have a go at the Chorus Jun-6 on a downer. Right now you can hear the raw production. Let's drop the Chorus Jun-6 out of bypass, and you can see we're still at a pretty low mix. We're around 10%, and we're still using the standard setup, but this time we've got both buttons engaged, and that's going to give us a sine wave at 0.8 Hz. We've also added in some automation, and that's going to affect the wet dry mix. It's going to take us down from this pretty low rate for the first 2 bars, and then on the second 2 bars, it's going to bring it up to somewhere around here, so somewhere around 70%, I reckon. And that's going to add a little variation and kind of texture and shift as the downer kind of drifts out, as it kind of disappears into the mix. As the downer starts at that low level of 10%, it's surprising how much it's actually doing for it. It's giving it a kind of lift. It's giving it a little bit more stereo. It's a little bit shift there. It's definitely bringing it up in the mix. It's making it feel a little bit lighter, and it's kind of catching your ear more. I like that a lot. And then as it gets into that second phase, it gives it this really nice kind of grinding texture and pulse and shift, and it just adds something interesting to just the tail end of the effect. Here we've got 2 synth parts that are bussed together, and we've got the Chorus Juno 6 sitting on the bus. Right now in bypass, let's take the Jun-6 out of bypass. Once again, you'll see the mix is set pretty low, 12%, pretty similar to what we've done before, but a little bit different this time. We're actually going to use the manual setup that allows us to use the rate, depth, and phase, set them up ourselves. And not only that, but we've got the rate set to a tempo sync, so we've got it set at 1/4 of a beat. For me, what we've got here is a little bit of an interesting compromise. I like the shift that it's giving it in the stereo field. I do think it's kind of softening out that synth a little bit. It's losing a little bit of its bite. So at about 10% or so on the mix, it's pretty cool for me. If you crank that mix round much more, it's going to soften it out too much. Next up, let's see what the chorus can do to this splash effect. Once again, we're going to take the chorus Jun-6 out of bypass. We're back on manual again. We've got the sync engaged, and we're using it at 1/16th of a beat on a triplet. And you'll notice that we're using a lot more of the wet dry mix this time. We're all the way over to about getting on for 60%. Let's see if that heavier use of the chorus works well with this splash effect. I really like that kind of fizzy, kind of sci-fi kind of texture it's giving it. It's really kind of bubbling it up and kind of squishing it and squelching it. It's giving it some extra width. I think it's kind of lifting it up a little bit in the mix as well. It's definitely pushing it in the direction of kind of 80s B-movie science fiction sound effect kind of vibe. Finally, let's take a listen to what the chorus Jun-6 can do to the bass line. Here we go then. Let's take the Jun-6 out of bypass. We're on manual once again. Once again, we've got the sync set. A lot slower this time. We're down at 1 bar, so really nice and steady. And we've got the depth right out, so it's not shifting that much. Not only that, but we're blending in very, very low, about 7.5%. So there's not a lot going on with this at all. What's it going to do for the bass? Will we be able to even tell the difference? Let's find out. Once again, I think we've got ourselves a little bit of a mixed bag with this one. I will say the chorus effect is helping to sit that bass up in the track. It's definitely got a little bit more presence and shift to it. I think we might be sacrificing a touch of drive and just low end kind of push with it. All right, let's do a quick compare and contrast. We'll start with the raw production, all the choruses in bypass. And then at the end of each rep, we'll bring in a new effect. And we'll do it in the order that we worked on them in the episode. Let's see how they work in the production as a whole. Do they help create more variation and interest? Or is it just one kind of big mess of too much chorus effect? Let's see what happens. Really interesting. As the choruses came in, you're getting more depth, more interest. I particularly like it on the snare, and I like it on that downer. I thought that really worked well as it kind of goes down into that tail. You really get that shift there. That was very, very nice. The other special effect, I could kind of take or leave, to be perfectly honest. I think it was fine either way. I don't really mind it. Honestly, if I was using it on the downer, I probably wouldn't use it on the splash effect. You don't really need both. Worked very nicely on the synths, but did you notice that when the bass came in, that extra bit of definition, that extra bit of variance, that contrast that you have on the synths from the chorus, once you put the chorus in on the bass, completely lost it. And the bass and the synths were really rubbing each other up the wrong way. That was not cool at all. That did not work. So I would take it off the bass, I'd take it off the splash, but I would leave it on the snare, the downer, and the synths. It's doing some good work there. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, follow. You know the drill. Eye of the Storm is out on Wednesday, the 20th of January. There's a pre-save link in the description and in the comments below. Please, please, please take a moment to pre-save the single. It really helps with the Spotify algorithms. If you're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Dailymotion, thank you for watching. If you're on Mixcloud or the podcast, thank you for listening. I wish you all a very happy and healthy 2021. Until next Tuesday, good night and good noise. Stay safe and stay healthy.